I would first like to start by thanking you all and the NRCA for giving us this opportunity to be here and learn more about the roofing industry. I speak for my entire team when I say that this has been one of my favorite experiences throughout my college career, and I cannot wait to share with you what we've worked so hard on over the past past months. So without further ado, we're Swamphead Roofers, and this is our proposal for the re-roofing of the 4-point Sheraton. Alright, so my name is Ansley Spofford. I'm the president of operations. To the right of me is Avery Tyndall. She's the senior project manager, and she's been in charge of the estimate. And then there's John Zelensky. He's the senior safety manager, and he's also going to be covering the quality assurance and quality control. And then Brian Freeman, he's our general superintendent. So a little background on our company is that we've been operating for 25 years, and we've completed over 10 projects in the New Orleans area. We operate on 3 basic principles: teamwork, creativity, and most importantly, safety, which John will cover in a little. What I really like to think what sets us apart is our commitment to our owners. The 4-point Sheraton is not our first re-roof. It won't be our first hotel, but it will be our first project with you all. So we are looking forward to this challenge and truly think that this is an awesome project and it will take us to the next level as a roofing contractor. Avery will now give you an overview of our estimate and our pricings.
As Ansley said, my name is Avery Tyndall and I was the senior project manager. So going into the estimate, for the roof area, we calculated around 185 squares. The total cost of the project came out to roughly $530,000. Some of the materials that we'll be using for the roof include Firestone TPO 80 mil, Firestone polyiso insulation, and Kynar 500 aluminum sheets. The total material cost came out to roughly $230,000. Our total labor cost, which we'll look further into on the next slide, came out to roughly $94,000. And our total general conditions was around $205,000. In our total general conditions, we included our margin, which includes our margin, which was around $135,000. And in our margin, we includes admin costs, which we put at 10%, overhead at 5%, and profit at 20%. And these are the standard percentages that we use at Swamphead Roofing. So looking at our crew sizes, provides further insight on our labor costs that we calculated for the estimate. The total man hours for the project came out to about 2,000 hours. We got these numbers from the project schedule that we created, and we'll look at that later in the presentation. The table shows crew sizes for the demo, carpentry, and TPO crews. And we've decided to have 1 equipment operator and 1 superintendent always on the site for the entire project. The crews will be expected to work the standard 8-hour workday, 5 days a week. And now John will go and discuss quality assurance.
Thank you, Avery. For this next topic, I'm going to discuss our quality assurance and quality control plan. We here at Swamphead Roofing like to let our work speak for itself. As you can see from our past client and project surveys, we have an excellent track record of client satisfaction, and we wish to continue the success with the 4-point Sheraton. Now, in order to achieve these results, our team works very hard in the aspect of QA/QC. These items listed here are just a handful of the things that we do as a team throughout the project's life cycle, and we're very proud of the work that we put out. So 2 items that we have identified as a risk in the QA/QC aspect of this project is the mechanical equipment on the roof and not disrupting the insulation for these equipments. Therefore, prior to any work being done, we'll be conducting a video walkthrough and documenting the conditions of the site. Then when work is being done, we'll be wrapping all MEP equipment in flame retardant commercial blankets, therefore to help mitigate any risk of any damages. Superintendents and foremen will be provided highlighted drawings detailing which equipment should and shouldn't be touched as we go throughout our phasing process. In the case of an incident, Swamp has working relations with some local trades here in the area. We have Gallo Mechanical, Pelican Electrical, and Service Pro. They have all agreed to have one worker on standby in case their services are needed. We will also be having crash carts inside the hotel ready to be used in case of any interior damages. Hopefully none of these things need to be used, but they're going to be there just in case. Finally, I want to add that we're going to be in constant communication with the hotel at all times. We also want to make sure that the guests staying in these hotels go undisrupted, and we're going to be keeping everyone informed on the process of construction, so therefore they can keep their guests happy. With that, I'm going to now transition over to safety. Now, it's no secret, roofing is a dangerous industry. One lapse in judgment, one mistake could mean someone not going home to their families at the end of the day. Now, with this project being located in the heart of a city where people have been known to make a mistake or two, some may see as a challenge. However, we here at Swamphead see this as an opportunity to showcase how dedicated we are to the aspect of safety. Now, before any project begins, our team sits down and discusses any potential hazards or points of interest. These tend to be the same across project to project and include proper PPE wear, weather, and material hoisting. In the case of the 4-point Sheraton, we have identified pedestrian safety, fall protection, and general housekeeping as other concerns. In the case of pedestrian safety, I see this as a major concern considering the location of the project. Therefore, we're going to have a full-time English-speaking OSHA 30 rolling safety officer on site at all times. That will be myself. However, here at Swamphead, we believe in going above and beyond and require all members in managerial positions to hold their OSHA 30 as well. So therefore, in the case of my absence, a PM or superintendent can step in and fill my role. My day-to-day duties include collecting forms and documentations from foremen, inspecting and making sure that material is properly secured, locking up the job site and securing the parking and scaffolding, making sure that people aren't where they're supposed to be. And then finally, I'll be looking through the debris netting and making sure that we're going to have that along our project, making sure that no tools or loose equipment go flying into Bourbon Street. And then also I'm going to be working with Ryan here every single day. We're going to be making sure that the dumpsters are removed and emptied at the end of each day and safely put back up on the roof in the morning before the crowds hit the streets. All right, in terms of fall protection, this site really doesn't have much for us to work with. There are sections of the roof that have parapet walls. However, they kind of create a false sense of safety. Therefore, we're gonna install temporary roof railing systems on these parapet walls. They will be moved throughout the project as we go through our phasing. And then when the system's not available, we're gonna be using a penetrator 3X mobile anchor points. Therefore, we've used this on previous projects and it's worked wonders because we can tie off basically anywhere we want to on a building. And then finally, I want to just finish it off with general housekeeping. We want everyone to be on the same page, so we require all workers to sit through a 1-hour safety orientation meeting. These meetings are catered specifically to the 4-point Sheraton Hotel and cover all the items you see listed on here. Also in these meetings, we'll be informing the workers about our combined incentive and disciplinary programs, and that is monitored by our new Safety Suite software that we have. With that, I could talk all day about safety, but I'm gonna pass it off to Ryan, who's gonna go into our site logistics.
Thank you, John, for discussing our quality control, quality assurance, and safety plans. My name is Ryan Friedman, and I will be the general superintendent for this project. I will now be guiding you through our proposed methods of site logistics and work execution. The first slide here is our site logistics diagram. It features some notable locations that we chose to highlight, including scaffolding, job site parking, a zone for material hoisting and forklift use, and the street parking spots for the site. Scaffolding will be erected on the top floor of the parking deck, as displayed in red, and as a protective cover over the sidewalk, which is shown in blue. The yellow area depicts the zone that the forklift will need to be driven in when hoisting materials to different areas across the roof when receiving deliveries. Deliveries will take place 1 day a week and will be scheduled to arrive between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. They will be told to come in off of Canal Street, then to Burgundy Street, before pulling in the parking spots onto Lee Street, which we will obtain through a sidewalk permit. The dumpster will be located in these 3 spots, along with the forklift when it is not in use to assist with these deliveries. The top level of the parking garage will be the location for both the portable toilets and workers' parking. Materials will be loaded in the closest area completed to it. That will be the one directly behind it, which will be displayed in the upcoming project schedule and phasing slides. Moving on to the project schedule, we broke down here some pre and post construction activities. The tasks required in areas 1 through 7 will be expanded upon later in the presentation. We anticipate our first day of mobilization on site to be June 6th, which would put us at a date for final completion after demobilizing on July 27th. Here's our plan for phasing the roof into 7 distinct areas. We will be working from the Bourbon Street portion of the hotel and then over to the Toulouse Street side. Area 1 is in red, followed by Area 2 in the bluish gray, Area 3 in purple, so on and so forth. The white arrow displays the flow of work. As discussed with the site logistics plan, the dumpster will be placed in the upper left-hand corner of this image on Toulouse Street. This flow of work will enable us to not be transporting demolished built-up roof across completed portions of the TPO roof. Start and finish dates for the demo and TPO crews in each area are featured next to the image. The demolition process is listed as a 5-day cycle for every area, but we anticipate the ability to make up dates by consistently completing this work in 4 days. This would add to our allowance of extra days, which is mentioned later on. Furthermore, let's dive into our work execution plan. Our main goal is to complete the scope of work while causing the hotel and its guests as little of an impact as possible. Most of the areas we outlined on the previous slides are around 35 squares or 3,500 square feet each. The other 2 areas include the elevated mechanical equipment room roof and the penthouse roofs. Each day, workers will be on site for meetings and safety checks at 7:30 a.m., but work will not begin until 8 a.m. Our current schedule accounts for 8 calendar days of float, which surpasses the 7 calendar days specified as allowance for any time lost due to weather. Now for our demo process. Our demo crew will be working just in front of the TPO crew and will be working in parallel with the carpentry crew. The carpentry crew will be utilized to repair any defects, holes, or gaps that are found in the concrete roof deck when it is inspected. The layers of the built-up roof that need to be removed include a 1-inch polyisocyanurate insulation, 1-inch perlite insulation, asphaltic applied 4-ply fiberglass, and the gravel surface of the built-up roof. These locations for existing roof removal will be communicated to the hotel at least 1 week before the demo begins in that place. Moreover, the roof will be dried in each day, with TPO being used to overlap on top of the built-up roof that has not yet been stripped. As mentioned previously, the dumpster will be taken from the site at the end of each workday and will be returned to Toulouse Street each morning. After the existing roof has been demoed, it's time for the Tpo installation and assembly. Some products we will be utilizing in this process are Firestone asphaltic primer, Firestone polyisocyanurate roof insulation, Densdeck prime gypsum coverboard, and Firestone 80 mil white thermoplastic polyolefin, or TPO. The insulation and Densdeck will both be installed using a low-rise foam adhesive. Firestone 80 mil white TPO will lead to energy savings in New Orleans' warm climate while providing increased resistance to punctures, tears, and abrasions. In regard to the low-rise foam adhesive, it will be applied in an S pattern with a 3/4 inch wide bead. Our installers have been trained in this dispersion process to ensure that the serpentine pattern does not telescope through the TPO membrane. For the TPO itself, the contact adhesive will be applied to the gypsum coverboard in the back of the TPO membrane. However, it will not be used in the minimum of 3 inches required for seams to overlap. These seams will be heat welded using automatic welding machines to ensure a watertight bond. Additional aspects of this scope include new plywood at parapet walls and roof curbs to cover remaining asphaltic residue. Firestone 80 mil TPO is then adhered in these locations after. New roof drains will be installed in existing drain holes, and flood testing will be conducted before the final inspection. At each light penetration of condensing units, Firestone split pipe boot flashings will be installed. Finally, 500 lineal feet of TPO walk pads will be furnished in place as selected by the owner's representative. The last aspect of the new roofing system to cover includes the various uses of Kynar 500 products. New gutters and downspouts, metal edge flashings, and coping caps. We'll utilize Kynar 500 2-coat finish as a resin-based aluminum metal coating. Now I'll pass it off to Ainsley to wrap up our presentation.
We realize that you have options when it comes to selecting a company that can rebuild your roof. But I want to drive home the point that you will not find a company that is more committed to understanding your need to keep your customers happy. We aren't naive to the fact that construction causes interruptions, but we've taken the measures to minimize these distractions. We will not distract your travelers from the experience that you've worked so hard to create, and we thank you for taking the time to hear a little bit about our company, and we look forward to hearing from you in the near future. Thank you.
Nicely done. You demonstrated a really strong, here, have a seat, relax, all right? And get grilled for 10 more minutes. But you really demonstrated that you understand the project and the safety and quality ramifications. That's great to see. My question for you though is you chose a forklift to get the materials on the roof. Why did you choose that, and why did you not choose other ways to be able to get materials on the roof?
So one reason that we chose a forklift is we saw it as an opportunity to utilize it in both the demo process and for material hoisting. We decided not to use a trash chute on this project, and we found that it was a good way to, like I said, utilize it in the demo process and in the Tpo installation process. We also found some cost savings and some safety reasons for that as well.
Another concern that we were looking at is, just the general satisfaction of the people and the guests of the hotel. So if we were to use a crane or, maybe another method, we would see this kind of as an eyesore. With a forklift, we were, hoping we can just kind of like keep it out of everyone's sight. If we were afraid, people relaxing by the pool wouldn't want to be looking up and seeing a crane. So that was just another aspect of the decision that we made.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Swamphead Roofing. Well done. And so this project is, I think, had different challenges and different contractors would look at it and say this is a particular challenge or another. As you all prepared your proposal and submission, what was the one specific most challenging thing for you all to address? And you hit upon several, but what was the one most challenging?
Well, as a company, we sit down and we discuss, potential risks and hazard, and it's all laid out in our proposal. For me, I would say it was pedestrian safety and making sure that all that mechanical equipment doesn't get interrupted. Last thing I would want if I was staying in a nice hotel is for my power to go out or have no AC. So that was a concern of mine. I can let anyone else say their piece.
Yeah, like you said, I think that was definitely a big portion as far as I think we each had specific concerns. As you mentioned, there was multiple that were brought up in the presentation. Obviously, safety-wise, the elevated roofs, the mechanical equipment roof is set substantially higher. There was another safety concern there that was one of our biggest points of interest from a safety concern perspective.
Thank you.
Something that this ownership team is concerned about with this project has to do with the safety of our guests, our staff. You guys have provided a lot of ways to mitigate risks for things falling off the roof, protecting the public and our guests and the staff from that sort of a hazard. One thing we're concerned about is the use of the adhesives on this project. Are these adhesives going to cause discomfort? Are they high in VOCs? Is there something that we need to think about to deal with those adhesives?
Well, normally we would want, obviously we would want the whole project to, as a guest, you wouldn't want it to be paying attention, and we want no one to really see it. That's our view. We're going to be working and making sure all the equipment and everything is taken down during the peak hours of construction. When it comes to the materials, I receive all the data sheets and everything, and if that is a concern, we will sit down and work with the hotel, but generally speaking, I would say that no, it wouldn't be that much of a risk to the hotel guests, considering they're not gonna be up on the roof themselves, so we're kind of reserve that area for working and keeping materials and equipment away from the hotel guests.
Thank you.
You guys have done a pretty good job of providing us an estimate based on what our design professional gave you to work with. I'm gonna ask you to go outside that box for a moment and think, sometimes our design professional doesn't consider every option that would be beneficial to the owner. Can you think of something that might save us money on the initial installation, or even we'd be willing to pay a little bit more for immediately, but over the long term would provide a benefit, some value, or even a return on our investment? If you can think of something that our design professional didn't consider, we'd like to know about it.
One alternative roofing system that we discussed was the use of lightweight concrete in the design of the potential roof. But with our experience with the TPO, and of course this will come with a 20-year labor and materials warranty, we believe the Firestone products do have very good longevity, and the white TPO will lead to energy savings with reduced heat island effect and things of that nature. So we did believe this was a productive system and would have a solid life cycle and be good for the owner in the long term.
Okay, thanks.
Good job, team. My question has to do with COVID-19. Of course, you know it's affected our families, our businesses, and what we do business actually on the rooftops. Additional PPE, other items that will keep our people safe and people around us safe. Can you explain a bit more in detail your protocol for COVID-19 in your business?
Yeah, so with the safety orientation, we do not have a vaccine mandate, but rather we make sure that everyone is COVID negative and shows a COVID negative result. Workers are required to wear a gator face buff while they're working, and to combat the heat, we would have tents set up with water and everything to make sure that no one's overheating. We also make sure that workers stay away and really are kind of out of the public eye when it comes to hotel guests. So therefore, if there is a chance, we don't want to be blamed or have the construction be the reason for anyone getting sick. We also, just require and preach safety and cleanliness. We'll be making sure, that workers are given proper PPE, gloves, and like I said, the face mask. It's just a company policy that we have is just to make sure that all our workers and those on site are given exactly what they need to succeed. So if any new technology or information comes out, we're on the forefront and make sure that it's implemented across our projects and across company-wide.
Thank you.
So I appreciate your solid quality assurance and your safety plan. Obviously, that's always a priority. I do want to come back to safety one last time. Job site safety is always a priority, and an injury impacts the employee, the project, and the business in many ways, and sometimes for a long time. So eliminating job site injuries will always be a high priority. So now that you've had the opportunity to see the job site firsthand, are there any additional safety measures that you may want to add proactively to your plan to ensure you do not have any job site injuries?
So as Ryan pointed out, there is that one section on top of the roof that there's no parapet walls, and it's just straight. It's really, I would say, considered the most unsafe part of the project. For these, we're going to have the mobile tie-off points, but for sections like that, I would maybe want to do some setback points and having it's just maybe someone other besides myself as a full-time safety officer having another hand with me, making sure that everything that workers are performing and functioning how they should and how they're properly trained. And then, with our safety suite program that I mentioned earlier, it allows everyone here on site to make an observation, and that is then reported to me at the end of the week, where we sit down with foremen and discuss what areas that need to be addressed. So by having, I would say, those, we would see maybe what areas we were lacking in and we could improve on.